Hey, you guys, Glen Shelton, founder and president of Lead Heroes. Ryan and I have been trying to get this live video to work. So we're going to see if we can't get Ryan on here in just a second. Let's see. And any questions, you guys, so hopefully we can get this thing going. Any questions or comments, please feel free to comment below. And Ryan and I will do our best to kind of answer those as we're having this conversation. The goal here is to talk about how to stand out in the senior insurance market. So if you're selling final expense, if you're selling Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or any other senior related product, and you're trying to figure out how you can stand out, be different, do something a little different. Ryan and I wanted to have that conversation and include you guys, include the community here in the Insurance Academy Facebook group. So we're hoping here in just a second we'll be able to bring Ryan on. But again, you guys, any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below. Even if that means this is after the fact. So even if this means, we've already wrapped the video. Ryan and I both talked about how we want to kind of keep that conversation going even after the fact. So hopefully we'll get Ryan on here in just a second. Let's see. Also, you guys, I have the book that I co-authored here, How to Qualify, Present, and Sell Final Expense and Medicare Supplements to Seniors. 100% free to download from Amazon right now. So if you go to Amazon.com, you can either search by my name, Glen Shelton, or you can search by the title, How to Qualify, Present, and Sell. Over 300 pages of content, really designed as a start to finish guide. So whether you're a brand new agent, or even if you are an agent that's been doing this for a really long time, I think there is something in this book for everybody. We actually surveyed hundreds of insurance agents, and we only took the top responses. So we only took about the top third of the people that we surveyed and included them in the book. So it wasn't just anybody that we allowed. Guys, so in just a second here, hopefully we'll have all that audio worked out. Hey, Ryan, how's it going? No, are you? I don't know what the world doesn't want this to happen. I don't know why. Oh, I think
I just turned my headset off. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. And I'm not really getting any feedback either.
Oh, well, perfect.
There we go.
Dude,
Crack the code.
Oh, take 4, man. Whew. Or 5.
Take 5. Fifth, yeah, fifth
5.
time's the charm, right?
Fifth time is the charm. So, you were talking about your book. Talked about a little bit about that book.
Yeah. So, as an agent, and again, I remember when I first got into the industry, and I was looking for essentially a book just like this. Now, obviously, final expense and Medicare, that's, we're in the niche of a niche. I mean, this is the life health of the senior market. So I understand that there's not necessarily a huge amount of information out there that's compiled, right? So I remember specifically getting on Amazon after I decided that this was the niche I wanted to focus on, and looking for content, looking for books, looking for videos, and there wasn't really much out there.
Yep.
So, we surveyed hundreds of insurance agents. We only took the top third, about 35, 36 different agents got their content included in the final copy of this. So it's not just my take on the industry. This is coming from a bunch of different people, what they say, how they qualify leads, several different types of leads. We talk about digital marketing, building a website, paid traffic. I mean, we try to talk about just about anything marketing related possible in this book. And I know, Ryan, I think when I was on your podcast, when we had talked last time, we talked a little bit about that, but and I appreciate you putting the group together, Ryan. Having a spot where agents can come together and share information and learn from each other. Again, that's something that I didn't have when I got started in the industry.
No kidding. Yeah, neither did I, man. It just seems like the lack of transparency is just unreal. Like just from the contracts to correct sales processes that are compliant and this isn't just Medicare, I'm talking life insurance.
Right.
There's things that you, as a field agent, especially if you get started remotely, like I did. I didn't start out of somebody's office. I mean, I started out of my bedroom making cold calls.
Right.
Eventually started sitting down with folks. And so I never had anybody sitting there walking me through a process. And so when you start to hear some recommendations about acceptable applications, I don't want to be doing what everybody else is doing in that aspect. Because when the carrier finds out that you're submitting applications that aren't on paper and it's not a wedding signature, that sort of stuff, they'll just cancel you and then goodbye commission.
That's a great, and I actually saw a couple of Facebook threads in some different groups. I don't know if it was here in the Insurance Academy or if it was another Facebook group, but what Ryan was referencing there is taking a paper application from an insurance carrier and loading it into one of the many e-signature platforms like DocuSign and thinking that that's good enough. And even if you are being compliant in the sense that that person, gave permission to do it, the carrier didn't give you permission to put that application in that electronic signature format. So the carrier can come back and terminate you, and they could even potentially prosecute you for violating their compliance. Yeah, exactly.
And
so that's a great point.
But worse than the DocuSign, there's agents out there advocating to use Notability.
Really? So, I hadn't heard that.
With Notability, you could literally copy signatures and paste signatures and delete things and everything after the client signed. And you're not supposed to, if you can alter the document after someone signed, it's not a legal document. So,
right, which is ink on paper if you're doing paper.
Exactly. So if you're out there selling insurance, you're selling promises and paper.
Right.
But if you're doing applications improperly, are you really selling the promise? Because it might not be there.
No, you're absolutely right. And to touch on what you said at the start of that. So, everyone wants big results or different results. And you mentioned you don't want to do what everyone else does. So I think what the trap that a lot of agents fall into is, I'm going to do what everyone else does, but I'm going to be the one that gets different results, right? So that's the focus. Again, what I had mentioned when I was kind of giving the intro spiel here, Ryan and I wanted to talk about how we can help, you guys with doing things that might be a little out of the box to generate as much business as possible. And as someone who generates leads full time or does marketing for insurance agents full time, I used to think that having a conversation like this would be detrimental to my business, but the truth is, I want you guys to succeed as much as possible. I want you to be able to get 5 referrals from a lead.
Yeah.
And have as much cash flow as possible, and so you can hopefully come back and buy more marketing. So, there's nothing here that I wouldn't be happy to share, or I know Ryan feels the same way. Ryan, why don't you touch on what I'd love to hear more about is some of the stuff like getting foot traffic at your office. I know a big one for you is you took that step and you went and got that office. And I know there's probably plenty of remote agents who will watch this video. So I'd love for you to talk about your office a little bit and what you're doing there to try to generate more business.
Yeah. So I've been, just to give everybody an idea, I've been licensed since August of 2016. The first 6 months I was out of my bedroom making cold calls in front of my computer. And then from there, I went full time, doing a lot of mortgage protection leads, kind of like you got your start with mortgage protection direct mail leads. And then I transferred the work, and I was like, man, this is so much night work. Like I'm driving home, it's 11 o'clock at night. People don't want me at their house at 11 o'clock at night to sell them insurance. I mean, really, they don't.
Right.
If you ask anybody, are they going to say, hey, yeah, I'd love to do insurance at 9 o'clock at night? No, they don't.
Yes, exactly.
And so I'm like, well, this isn't the salesperson that I want to be. This isn't the posture that I want to have with my clients. And that has kind of graduated over time. From that mortgage protection, then I started doing direct mail final expense leads. And then I did some Facebook final expense leads. And leads are just that. They are a lead. They're not a guarantee. So you're spending money on something that's not a guarantee with a marketing message that tells the client, I don't want you to know who I am, and I want to surprise you with a phone call, or I want to surprise you at your door because you're going to turn me away. That's not the posture that I want with my clients. I want my clients to think life insurance or insurance and, oh, I need to go down to that company.
Absolutely.
And so when you're going to decide where are you going to spend your marketing dollars, do you want to spend your marketing dollars doing the generic thing that you know the results are going to be, 1 to 2% response rate, or do you want to try to take a little bit more risk, brand yourself a little bit? And so I've been able to, I send mail. Yeah. There you go, Matt. There you go.
Matt wants a little dab. Here you go, Matt. There you go.
Yeah.
We're live, buddy.
So what I've been doing, and it works extremely well over annual enrollment period, is I've been sending out my own direct mail, branded. My company's called Senior Benefits Division, but all the envelopes that I send out are branded, and it's very much trying to be an advocate for the community is the posture that I write these letters in. I have gotten a mixed response rate, but I usually get about a 1% or better on my own mail. Sure. If you can do your own mail and get close to what you're paying for per thousand, but it's branded, it might just be worth it. And we'll see how it plays out. But I have a good feeling that the more somebody sees my company's name, the more top of mind I'm going to be to them.
Oh, absolutely. And I've got a client I work with very closely, and they do almost 99% of their business over the phone, right? So they have an office similar to yours. It's not a massive office. It's not a huge agency. They've got about 4 or 5 agents, but they still don't turn away their local business. Why would you, right? Like, why, even if you're excelling at selling over the phone, if you have people literally wanting to walk in, right? If you have that foot traffic, like you were showing earlier, your office is in a good location based on the traffic coming through town, why wouldn't you capitalize on that? I mean, that's essentially free business, right? So, and I think branding is really the same way. Like, why wouldn't you slap your own company on the card? Why, like, are you going to represent and say, hey, I'm an Americo agent, or are you gonna have your own company and explain, hey, this is my company. I'm the principal agent at this company, and using terminology that might seem like you're inflating your business. That is not illegitimate or deceiving at all. If you start your own company, you obviously can give yourself a title. And who knows, Senior Benefits Division might be the next premier IMO, right? I mean, and 5 years, yeah.
And I'm not just trying to build something. I don't want to do the recruiting thing. Where I'm trying to recruit agents over Facebook like everybody else is doing. I don't want to do that.
Right.
I want to build a local business that a local single mom maybe could come get a job at.
Sure.
And helping grandpa.
Absolutely. So Matt had a question here. He said, are billboards important to branding? Honestly, not something I have really any experience in. I'll be very honest. I have never purchased a billboard. I don't even think I have. Well, I have a couple clients that have purchased billboards. And now that I actually think about it, the one client that I had a conversation with, he actually got billboard space for AEP. It didn't sound like he had got a lot of traction from a billboard. I mean, think about as a consumer yourself, right? How often, Ryan, have you seen a billboard and you thought, oh man, I'm going to call this number as I'm right? Like, I think it's beneficial, but yeah.
So it's $3,000 a month is what I was quoted for a billboard.
Whoa, that's expensive.
Right. Yeah, it was off of I-5, just down the street from my house. It's $3,000 a month, and
that's a good freeway for it.
To print the whole thing, and I don't remember what the total bill was, but it was just over $3,000. And I'm like, okay, so I could spend $3,000 on that, or I can spend $3,000 on final expense generic mailers, and I know what the response rate's going to get, or I can send out my own, which act like little mini targeted billboards. Because when you buy a billboard, you're just exposing to the market, hey, I'm here, everybody. But you're not You're not picking anybody out of the crowd and saying, hey, you.
That girl at the party, right?
Yeah. So I think I had a letter still here.
No, but that's a great point. I had someone I was talking to just last week, and they were talking about CPM, so cost per thousand, or cost depending on how you're doing your marketing, but the cost per thousand to send 1,000 postcards versus say your CPM on Facebook or your CPM on some other internet advertising. And yeah, CPM could be significantly less on Facebook, for example, but just like you said, you're not targeting anyone out of the crowd. A Facebook ad is essentially a billboard, right?
Right.
And yes, they can click on it and you can get that lead generated at a low cost, but there is definitely something about the mail, right? When you send that mail piece out, they get to hold it in their hand and then they are sending it back to you. So
Yep.
yeah, I totally agree.
Envelopes that get sent out. So it's just says Senior Benefits Division, important information inside. And then, it's like a trifold. And this is the last one I did. And I'm just trying to help out people in any way. So
that's a great list. Yeah.
And
I like that checkbox list.
So in order to avoid having to go through compliance for Medicare, you can't do any prescription drug plans or Medicare Advantage plans without getting the whole mailer approved. And you can't, but
right.
You can advertise for Medicare Supplement. And there ain't nothing that says you can't advertise to help people get onto the state of Oregon's extra help plan for their prescription drugs. So if somebody is eligible and didn't know they were eligible, then now they have a special enrollment period every 3 months to change their prescription drug plan if needed. Plus their drug costs get just cut huge. And so in my state, it's about $1,600 and some change and then assets in order to qualify for the extra help. But so far I've gotten, I don't know, probably half dozen people signed up through extra help since October that didn't have it before. And I've gotten people, veterans. I'm on the VA Choice Health Program. I'm a combat veteran. And any combat veterans out there, they're eligible for the VA Choice program. So I have on my computer, on my browser, I have it saved. One click, I'm to the application to help somebody enroll into the VA Choice. So when I'm sitting down with somebody and they're on Part B, they're paying for a supplement and they're paying for a prescription drug plan, didn't know that the VA will allow them here anyways. The VA's full, they're not accepting patients. So they allow us veterans to go out into the community to receive our care, and they pay for everything. So
yeah, that's fantastic. And Ryan, really, I want to cut you off here for a second. I really do want to. Ryan and I had a conversation before we had this live video today, and he was just talking to me about his time overseas. And seriously, Ryan, I can't thank you enough, both for me personally, for my family. I've got 2 kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. Seriously, man, I can't thank you enough for your service. I really just wanted to make sure. And everyone, everyone who watches this should be grateful for Ryan and for all the other veterans who have protected us and served us. So really, thank you.
Yeah, we really are all here because they aren't.
100%.
But yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, one thing that you touched on too. So here's a printout sample of our Medicare leads, of our direct mail leads. So we do postcards. So Ryan had a really great example there of his trifold that he's doing.
I'm going to print I'll print it
off.
So.
No, please do. But I wanted to show, and you can see this on leadheroes.com. If you get to the order page, you can see all of our samples, but you'll notice that we specifically say Medicare supplement in our wording for the exact reason that you just mentioned there, Ryan, is that Medicare supplement does not have to adhere to the same CMS guidelines or rules that you have to adhere to for Medicare Advantage or Part D. And this is a common misconception, I think, among agents, especially among new agents, to the point that we'll typically get someone who reaches out to Lead Heroes, say once a week, to say, hey, Glenn, what are you doing? These aren't compliant leads, or you can't be saying that, you can't be doing that. But yeah, again, like you said, as long as you're focusing on Medicare supplement with your marketing, that's totally fine. It's just like final expense, as far as from a compliance standpoint.
Yep. Yeah, it's just like in the underwriting, similar to, it's really easy to sell med subs if you sell final expense. In fact, when you're going through the contracting, usually there's a little button on Insurance Bay that allows you to click to get the med sub contract.
Here's a question for you too. After I want to see that, and I want everyone else to see what you're about to show us. But I also wanted to ask you, so when you're actually in the house or when you're introducing yourself to your client, how do you separate yourself from the crowd at that point? What would you say to someone to try to make them have a different experience or to think differently?
That's a really good question. Let me think on that for a minute here, and I'll respond to that.
Yeah,
Because it all depends on the situation.
it totally does. Is it a Medicare client? Is it a final expense client? What are they wanting to have done? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a trifold. This is a one piece of paper mailer. Print this on the back side, and then this is just printed on 2 sheets. It's usually front and back. So they get it in the mail, and it just says,
Nice.
this is a Medicare one, Medicare open enrollment packet.
Nice.
Do not discard. And then they open it. Well, right here I got a little 1-page sales letter. I'm not going to give you the verbiage.
You have to pay for that. Is that for T65?
That's for, I just did that for annual enrollment period.
For AEP.
And then
Gotcha.
here's the lead form.
And you're getting people, and this was surprising me. Ryan was saying he's actually getting people who will fill out this entire form and send it back to him. Now, just like with anything else, like when we're doing phone calls at Lead Heroes.
These
are all, there you go.
These are ones that I didn't make contact with. I got like 67 of them back. So like these are all completely filled out, as you can see. This guy staples on extra drug lists. There's a bottom of a different one I did. I had people send me back
Results.
Drug lists, their doctors' names, I've never even met the people. I didn't even get a hold of some of these people on the phone. They sent me copies of their Medicare card. I'm like, oh my gosh, these people.
Well, this is actually, no, that's a great point that you just made. And it ties into a comment Matthew made here. And he was saying that it's not a one size fits all. You could have a radio ad, a billboard, mail, phone calls. And I actually had a client in St. Louis who they were doing a lot of internet marketing, social media marketing for the St. Louis area. They brought us in, we were doing phone calls. So we were kind of blanketing St. Louis, doing the telemarketed leads. And then they also did direct mail. Not through us, but I'm trying to capture that business. But so they had 3 different types of marketing, one geographic area that they're targeting. And they had a massive concern about overlap. And it ended up being less than 2% overlapped. So different people respond to different types of marketing. So just like Ryan said he couldn't get some of these people on the phone, but they filled that application out and sent it back to him. And just like I could potentially get someone on the phone at Lead Heroes, but maybe they wouldn't fill out what Ryan had sent them in the mail. So, different people capture different types of marketing, captures different audiences. So I think that was a great point that you just made there, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. But that mailer, I got over a 13% response rate. And I got
That's insane.
And this is everything from first name, last name, date of birth, phone number, email address. Are you Medicaid, Medicare? Are you a veteran? Are you on TRICARE? Are you receiving extra help? The current insurance plans, and people are putting out their plans, their premiums. They're putting their drug lists. And so what made it really nice come AEP, I could be selective over who I called.
Right. So talk to me. So now that we're at this, so again, back to that first question, right? So now that you're talking to these individuals, once you get that, or if you want to have them come into your office or you want to set an appointment to go out there, how do you explain yourself or describe yourself to these seniors to set yourself apart?
I came up with the verbiage on this the other day, and I just sent out a new mailer with this. And I'm going to read you a little part of it because I like the way that
because this is really important to me, because I've noticed that how you introduce yourself as an agent, I think, is a really big factor that a lot of people don't talk about. If you walk up and you're like, hey, I'm a life insurance agent, a lot of people will probably be like, yep, see ya, I'm not doing business with you. Yeah. But if you have kind of a creative way of explaining what you do, and I'll talk about one that I think works well after Ryan kind of talks about his process here. But
yeah, so I usually say, I'm not the typical agent because I don't work for an insurance company. I'm started from scratch, and I worked with about 100 different insurance companies. The purpose of everyone kind of has their focus on who they're able to get preferred rates to. My job is just to figure out what that is for you and your family based on whatever it is you guys need. And that's what I generally say to folks. Options.
Sure.
I'm trying to get this remove data server. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to get this thing loaded up in the background. Oh, darn it. It's the other one. Early Feb. There we go. So I'm just trying to keep this consistent message in front of people. So when they see my mailer,
having that, that's another huge point that I have to explain to people is you need to have your follow-up message has to be in line with your marketing, or else you look like an idiot. Yes, absolutely.
And so like, here's the first paragraph of my own mailer. So we'll see how it does. I'll let everybody know.
Yeah.
Sent out 200 of them Sunday. So we'll see.
Well, and
a lot of
you
times
can
I
compare
get call-ins from these.
Yeah, well, and you should be, so Ryan actually dropped 1,000 pieces with Lead Heroes as well. So this is a great A/B test so he can kind of see. And again, going back to what Matthew commented on the video here, just because Ryan does something that is an absolute smash hit for him might not translate for you and vice versa. So A/B testing is super important.
Yeah, and so that's what I try to do. So it's my introduction. My name is Ryan Matteson, and I founded Senior Benefits Division to help advocate for our community. There is too much at stake for the grandpas and grandmas in our community to not have an advocate. I'd love the opportunity to help you and your family better understand what benefits are available and not available to you. Since 2016, I've been helping families improve their situations and either getting them on special programs with the state of Oregon or through private insurance companies. Some of you reading this right now might be eligible for discounts you don't know about simply because you don't know what questions to ask or who to ask them to. It's worth taking a little bit of time to make sure. For details at no obligation, please return by February the 18th, and then all those check boxes on there.
So but the key term there was senior benefit advocate, I think. Is that what you said? Senior benefit?
Yeah, I founded Senior Benefits Division to help advocate for our community.
Perfect, right there. So,
Because really, that's what we're doing. We're advocating for these folks that really don't understand financial services.
Well, but see, again, the key there is that you didn't pigeonhole yourself. You could walk into that conversation and you could pivot from Medicare to final expense. That's a very fluid conversation if you're a senior benefit advocate.
Yep.
And I think that's half the battle if you're trying to sell both, right? Which I know not everybody does. I also think by having a little more ambiguous term like that, I think, again, you're setting yourself apart from the crowd. You're not a Medicare agent. You're not a life insurance agent. You're not a final expense agent. You're there to advocate for them. You've taken a term like insurance broker and you made it customized for the niche and you softened it up a little bit.
Yep.
And the term that I was going to recommend, or that I've heard people use with a lot of success, I had a final expense agent who did tons of business with us, and his terminology was senior benefit advisor. So advocate, advisor, right? There you go.
Benefits coordinator is what I put. Broker and benefits coordinator. Because really, and at the end of the day, I help people all the time apply for prescription drug extra help with our state. I help people all the time get on the VA program. I don't care if it makes me money or not. It's goodwill, and that goes a long way.
Good business. It's good business to help out clients, even if you don't get paid. I mean, I refer people all the time, Glen, I'm looking for this type of lead. We don't do that, go talk to them. It's just good business to help people out.
Yep. And it is. And what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
And like going around and coming around and referring business, I pop into these captive agencies, and the one last week I went in there in the morning and I had 2 leads. I've got an appointment. I already had an appointment, sold 2 policies, got her on extra help. And then I'm going to meet the other family, and he calls me and says, "Hey, enjoy these ones. These clients have given me more referrals than any of my clients ever have."
Wow.
And I'm like,
and that's,
dude,
Hey, talk about that. I would love for everyone to hear more talk about what you're doing locally. Because again, I think doing some grassroots like that is a must for most. Like if you're like buying leads is great. And you should buy leads, especially if you're brand new and you're trying to really grow your company, grow your book of business. But the grassroots, what Ryan's doing, I think is really what every agent should do. You know, you have to do both. You have to diversify. You can't just bet on leads, and you also really can't just bet on local grassroots. You got to kind of do a little bit of both. So talk about that, Ryan. I'd love for people to hear more about that.
I'm kind of in the beginning stages. Just got approval to start teaching at my senior center. My classes will be posted in their thing that they mail out to like 30,000 people and in the community. And so.
And you're not paying for that, right? You're not paying for them to send that mail out, right?
No.
Exactly. You're just providing value. You're just providing value.
Offer today says, hey, I have some time. I want to help teach some classes. I want to teach a class about internet safety and devices. And one is about internet safety. And then one of them is about Medicare. And then another one is about how to use like tablets and stuff like that. And so the technology ones, a buddy of mine ran the classes for me in 2017. And he said, and they paid $7. Each student paid $7 to attend. So he made some money.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And he said there was like 5 to 8 people every class. And we set up for 14. Some people, when he went, I think he only did like 5 or 6 of the classes because people didn't sign up for it. So he didn't teach. But so they kind of wanted to mesh them together. But so even if you do, one class a month, there's going to be people that show up to a Medicare class. There's going to be people that sign up for a life insurance class. They're just and who knows how many refer, right? And again, we're talking about referrals, right? Even if there's 4 or 5 people there, and maybe only one of them ends up being a client, who knows what that could lead to? They could refer people to you. You're building your brand locally. You're getting marketing. You're basically getting money spent. So here's a great analogy I'm thinking of as this comes up. They talked about when Trump won the election, whether you like Trump or you hate Trump, right? He got a ton of free marketing by all of these news channels focusing on him. He didn't pay those news channels to run him. Yeah.
The news channels, yeah.
Time.
Exactly. So you're kind of capitalizing in the same way, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah. And
prime time, baby.
So we'll be published with Medicare classes at the local senior center. My mailers are going out, and right on the top it says, "Do you know we're local?" And that was some Facebook marketing that I snagged from an ad campaign that we did that was successful. And
nice.
I just threw that in there, and with just located just across the street from the biggest thrift store in town, and I just named out the 2 places, so that landmarks, just to try to get some. But here pretty soon, these mailers will say, "Did you know we teach classes on Medicare at the senior center?" So now the lead card isn't just a lead card; it's an advertisement. Yep. It's not just an advertisement; it's an invitation to a specific event.
Brilliant.
If they want to fill it out, great. If you don't, well, now you know that we're teaching at the senior center. So how much buzz will that start? If 300 let's say you send out 1,000-piece mailer, and you spend $5 in mail or in postage, and it's $100 to buy the paper and print it and fold it and stick it together, it's worth it. 1,000 people, 200 people are going to open that. 100 people are going to read your message. So you just let 100 people know that, hey, I'm teaching a class. I'm a Medicare expert. I want to help your family. Our company's name is this. We're located here. That stuff's going to come up. My last appointment that I had last week, the gal came here, took her granddaughter upstairs to the dental office, and she stopped by and saw my windows. And I've got them pretty. I'll walk it over here.
Yeah. Let's see it. I loved those windows in that last video.
And she said, she's like, "Oh my God, when I came in here to take my granddaughter, I saw your sign. I'm like, I have to stop in here." And she came in 2 times, and I wasn't here.
Oh.
And I'm glad she called me, because I wouldn't have been able to get a hold of her.
Right.
So that's, that makes me want to take the next step and hire somebody to be in the office all the time, so I don't ever miss out.
There it is. You should take a picture of that and post it after we're done. I think that's fantastic.
Okay.
But no, so in this
hallway,
yeah,
and then dental office that way, and then here's the other hallway, and then this window's the same. It's just exactly mirror image.
So just in this conversation that Ryan and I have had, so Ryan's been talking about different ways that he's marketing himself. So Ryan's buying leads from lead vendors like me. Ryan is doing his own lead generation through local mail. So he's actually also doing his own mail on top of buying his own leads.
This is what this is. This is a Pitney Bowes. It
There you go.
seals the envelopes for me and stamps the stamp on it, so I don't have to do it anymore.
He's doing local grassroots. He's asking for other insurance agents who don't specialize in the niche that he specializes in. He's asking for referrals from them. He's teaching at the local senior center now. He has an office that has foot traffic, which is what he just talked about. So just off the top of my head from this conversation, Ryan has and he mentioned Facebook. So he's also doing some digital advertising. So that's 6 different ways to generate business. Yep. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about with this conversation is it's not about one thing. I think honestly, when I look at really successful people or successful agents, they're usually doing a little bit of everything to try to generate that traffic, to generate that business. And I think starting local is a really great way. Is if you're selling face-to-face, why wouldn't you? And even if you're selling over the phone, why wouldn't you capitalize on that local traffic? You know, is there, so out of those six ways that I just talked about, is there anything else that you're doing to generate business?
Not really. I got a ton of referrals last open enrollment, and here's the secret. You need to find, I'm in a rural area. And so a lot of people, especially the older generation that I help, they've been around a long time in the area.
Right.
And like this gal on Friday, she's been in this town since she was 5 years old, and she just turned 65 or 69.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane.
In town.
That's crazy.
So here pretty soon, later this year, I'm going to sponsor the local Boys and Girls Club. And my dad sponsors like 5 teams a year with his company. And so I'm going to put a sponsorship in the soccer arena. So that way all the grandmas and grandpas that are there watching their grandkids play soccer, they're going to see Senior Benefits Division on the wall.
That's awesome.
And then their grandkids, Senior Benefits Division team. So that's...
So local, there you go. That's going to be a 7th way of generating business. And that's going to be local, local advertising. And why not? I mean, that costs. Plus you're doing a good thing on top of it, right? You're helping out the Boys and Girls Club. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And so all this starts building momentum.
Correct.
And it's easy to get excited and keep the excitement going when, every day you check it's not like a lead vendor when you send out your own mail. You got to go to your mailbox. What's today? And then you're going to get a whole lot of these with a yellow stick. And you're going to like, damn you list vendors. You sorry for the French there, but you get bad data and you're going to get that back. But then you go back to your list and you check it off the list. I'm not going to mail to that person anymore.
Scrub it. Absolutely.
So your list gets a little bit better. And
absolutely. And that's a whole, man, we could probably have a whole nother interview or conversation about data vendors, who's the best price, who's more accurate. And, that stuff is almost constantly in its own flux too, where one data vendor might have the hot hand and then a new data vendor comes to town. And I actually try to establish relationships with publishers because I found that the closer you are to the source, the better the data. And then, of course, it's more expensive, but then I get to buy in bulk and hopefully cut on cost. But one thing I wanted to mention here again, this week only, my book is 100% free to download on Amazon. So the Kindle version of this ebook, normally it costs $10 to get the Kindle version. I'm giving it away for free this week. This is my Valentine's Day gift to all the agents out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and you do not have to have a Kindle to download it. You can download the Kindle app on any phone, any tablet, or any computer. So you can read this. So it's how to qualify, present, and sell final expense and Medicare supplements to seniors. Ryan, anything else you wanted to touch on here? I thought this conversation was great.
There's 2 other ways that I'm generating leads.
Perfect. Let's hear it. This
On
will,
my
so
website,
yeah.
I have, you can go to Ninja Quote. I think it's ninjaquoter.com or ninjaquote.com. Let me check for you guys. Quoters. It is ninjaquoter.com.
Okay.
I don't know, it's $30 a month or something, but it's a quoting software, but they'll allow you to upload a widget onto your website. That's a quote tool. So
Fantastic.
I actually got a couple leads. I haven't really marketed for leads, but I've got a couple from that have been on my website and filled out to get a quote, and then it pushes the lead to me. And I get an email.
There you go.
And I'm like, oh, for my own website, this is cool. And
I mean, that's
back to the branding.
yes. And that's so we actually, and that's actually a great point. And so there's a whole, it's chapter 13 in here. So we had a whole, and this is again, that's like it's 2019. So I thought that this is it seems like a simple thing, but again, we have a whole chapter dedicated to creating a website.
Yeah.
And that's, again, branding. It's such a simple thing. It's going to help you close more deals. You're going to look, there's a trust factor, right? If you have a website, if you have a brand behind you,
yep.
You can generate leads through that website, like Ryan just mentioned. It's a no-brainer to have a website built. Design one yourself, hire someone to design one, pay a company to design one. I think every agent should have a website. It's crazy to me when they tell me they don't have a website.
And it you know, when people are still just doing things using somebody else's, they join the insurance industry to be a boss, but then they want to use somebody else's company name.
Yes.
I'm like, I joined a group, and we're doing a lot of referral business through a third-party PNC shop, and they're wanting to like have a uniform front, even though I'm like, I run my own company. I will not get a business card with. See that?
Foot traffic.
Foot traffic. Reading all the dental stuff that on my
window. Fantastic. I'm glad you snagged. At first, I was like, squirrel. What is that? No, but that fantastic. Dude. That's fantastic.
And I think she's coming in for me. I think that's my.
Hey, let's end that here, man. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
how to stand out in the senior market with Ryan Matteson at the Matteson Agency. Ryan, I really appreciate you going live with me today. I'll post a couple links from our conversation that we have content on leadheroes.com that I want to share with agents. We also have 30% off our leads for Valentine's Day this week. Happy Valentine's Day, you guys. Ryan, anything else?
I think that's it. All right, take care.
Hey, have a good one.